Welcome to this week's episode of Scoreboard for the Echo Online. I'm Kelsey Williams and I'm joined by Andy Robertson and Michael Deere. Now guys, let's talk some UCA football. They play against Abilene Christian this week on the road at a neutral site in Plano, Texas. And last week, Sam Houston State had 175 rushing yards in a 17-point victory against Abilene Christian. Can you see the Bears doing the same thing?
I think they will. In the Wildcats' 5 losses, they've given up 181.2 yards rushing. And in the Bears' 5 wins, they've ran for over 220 yards. So I think that if UCA can keep rolling with what they've been doing the last few games, they can definitely hit that mark.
Yeah, with a good running game against Northwestern State, what that opened up for UCA is almost endless for me. With 306 yards rushing, with 3 viable running back options, Beasley, Matthews, and Thomas. If Abilene Christian wants to stop the run, UCA will pass the ball. As soon as they have to switch and start guarding the pass, UCA can run the ball. I think this offense is going to have their way with Abilene Christian at times, not the entire game. There can be a few mistakes here and there.
Everyone knows there's always going to be errors, yeah.
Right, but this offensive line is absolutely dominating people right now. And the Northwestern State game, I was surprised with how effective first down, second down, just chunks of yardage.
I feel like it's just because they have so many options. They've got viable running backs, like we said, the 3, Beasley, Thomas, and Matthews. But then all of a sudden you have Des Smith at one end, Des Lewis the other end, who are not only strong, but are also quick. If I was defense, I would know who to keep my eye on that, especially.
Yep. Whitehead, Jatavius Wilson, the weapons at tight end we're starting to show now to people. And I don't think that Campbell's even really broken into some of the play in the playbooks. I think you might see some funky plays this week because right now everything's on the line, and UCA needs to finish 2-1 before the end of the season.
So as I mentioned before, they're playing a neutral site in Plano, Texas. What are the keys for the Bears to be able to win this game?
Well, understatement of the year, good rushing game, good passing game, but the play action is going to be big this week because they can run the ball, and Abilene Christian is going to have eyes in the backfield, making sure that run's not going to beat them first. UCA, I think Ryan Howard, 14-16 last week. This could be the same type of game. Just manage it. Do not make mistakes. We don't need 300 yards. We don't need 200 yards. He passed for 150 yards and a touchdown against Northwestern State, and look at the score of that ball game. That's all they need to do. You mentioned it, receivers. I think because they're going to be so keyed on the running game, Desmond Smith, Desmond Lewis, Courtney Whitehead, Jatavius Wilson have big games and they dominate their D-backs. That's going to be a big key.
Yeah.
I agree. I think rushing is going to be a huge thing in this game as well. They have opened up the rushing game a lot lately. Coach Campbell credited the offensive line in the post game for their big rushing game. It opens up the pass, like you said. If they can rush consistently and open up the pass, that will help immensely. I think UCA is going to have a handle on this game with the rushing, and we'll see where it goes from there.
Well, I have 3 main points and then a side note that I've added in there as well. I think they definitely need to have a strong running game, like we've already mentioned. They need to have a solid defensive plan because we need to really have defense to hold up.
Defense.
And,
yes.
and we say it every time, and we have such a youthful defensive team, but I feel like if they're coming together and they're stopping the other opponent's teams, the offense gets back and we can score again.
Yeah, get that interception here, fumble here, take care of it.
It'll be fun. And the other thing is minimal errors. We've really got to make sure we minimize the sacks, we need to minimize the interceptions, and really just everything. We just need to come together as a team and really perform well. And the other side note that I had is Taylor Reed. We didn't see him play this week because he was injured. I feel like this week we might see a little bit of him incorporated into the game, and I feel like that dual threat quarterback is really going to work in UCA's
that would
favor.
add another threat in Abilene. That just forces you someone else to game plan for if you're Abilene Christian.
All right, guys, give me a score prediction in UCA Abilene.
UCA is probably one of the highest, or they are the highest scoring team in the Southland Conference right now, and because of that, I think that they're gonna win pretty handedly. They played really well the last few games. The only hiccup was Southeastern.
That's a good football team.
Yeah.
That's a good hiccup, I guess.
Yeah. So I mean, I see this game going 45-28 in UCA's favor.
I have the Bears going down to Plano, and we've talked about it. There's going to be some Bear fans make the trip down there. We have a lot of players from that area.
Texas, Dallas-Fort Worth area. You're going to make sure you get your tickets right. We don't want Mum calling up saying, I haven't got a ticket, but Uncle Bob's got a ticket.
Right. Take care of that. I think it's going to be, neutral crowd, yeah, but I think there's going to be more UCA fans than what most people are going to think. It's going to give the players an edge. I think right now they are rolling. And with this offense doing the things that they're doing, the defense just at the right times making the right plays.
We just really need everything to come together.
Yeah.
If everything comes together, there's no reason that we can't be any team in this conference.
And last week was the first game I think I could actually say UCA played a full 4-quarter game.
Which
they came out and
for a
dominated
while.
the first half and took care of business running the ball in the second half to put a game away. No worries. I mean, there was times like, all right, is Northwestern about to put their foot on the pedal here and maybe come back and make something? Nope, UCA took care of it. I think they win this week 40-21.
That's a big prediction. That's nearly almost double
Go
the
Bears.
score. But
Yeah.
I really think that I put down UCA 38 and Abilene Christian 24. I feel like it's going to be close, but I still feel like in the end UCA is just going to come out on top of Abilene Christian. Well, thanks guys for joining me. That sums up another week for the Echo Online, and we'll see you next week.